Hey guys, how are you? Today I'm here with some very good information or possible good news on how we are going to wait for the lawsuit to be decided. The lawsuit will be decided on August 27th. It is a very important day because that will be a very crucial decision, especially to determine the status of the DV lottery winners of 2020, and possible it will also help, the judgment will help to decide the DV 2021 based on the arguments which have been put forward. And some of the arguments, I will go through too many arguments, but one of that one I want to explain. I'm not a lawyer, but I consulted someone who is also a lawyer, and we had good discussion, and we are in the same mindset of understanding what does that argument mean and what will be the implication of the argument for the DV lottery winners of 2020 and the DV lottery winners even in 2021 and even beyond. What will that mean in case of that particular immigration, the suspension or the executive order, because there are certain things were not clearly stated in the executive order which made the embassy to go ahead by assumption stopping issuing the visa, which was not the intention of the executive order. So welcome everyone, this is Ernest Boniface Makulilo, EBM, and in case you haven't been able to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do so. I really appreciate your continued support to this YouTube channel. So let's go direct to this particular video, which will be straight to the arguments and the interpretation of these arguments and the possibility of these arguments to be into the table, and the possible either the American Immigration Lawyers Association to win. And if they win, what will that mean for the winners of DV 2020, but also the DV lottery winners of 2021? As you know, the DV lottery winners of 2021, they are supposed to start basically the interviews on October 1st. That is the new fiscal year. But with the suspension, the assumption is they're supposed to start on January 2nd, after the suspension of which ends in December, end of December. So all those kind of things, what will that mean? If they win, will the interviews for the DV lottery winners of 2021 will start back in October? And these winners are supposed to be... So all those kind of questions will be going to watch in this video, and I'm going to break down to you, and will be on the same page. Before I continue, I made a video about the status or whether the American Lawyers Immigration Lawyers Association will have the case to win. At that time, I needed to see all these arguments. The arguments were not put forward at the beginning, but I was going with understanding about what the Department of State has said, even by official, when they are answering their questions about whether they will be going to extend the giving the visas for the DV lottery winners 2020. They will say no, never, we are not going to extend. We are not going to extend the deadline. The deadline is end of September. That's it. And we are not going to be carrying over the winners to 2021. So that argument is also part of this one. So I'm going to mention these two arguments, and we are going to evaluate, to look at them and how is it. So for those I upset them people about the previous video, please forgive me on that, because I was giving the video basing on the information at the time. The information at the time from the Department of State, they are not going to move the benefits carrying over to another year. That's number one. And secondly, suspension for them, it was over. They are not going to give any visa at all. But with these arguments, I believe their government they will not win on these arguments which are here. Argument number one, and I'm going to read. The argument number one is whether the proclamation, the executive order, the proclamation by the US president banning entry to the categories of visa, H1 and all other visa, including the green card visa, meant that embassies shouldn't issue the visa. That we want to, they want interpretation. Does the proclamation from the president, the executive order, the proclamation was suspension of people to enter. But did it mean that the embassy should not issue the visa to people if I go to issue the visa? That was number one. As such, the judge asked for cables sent to KCC and embassies around the world. This is important because if the judge finds that the visa should have been issued as people wait for the ban or end to be lifted, then the Dv2021 should be issued from October 1st and can travel if the corona restrictions are lifted. So this is going to cover also 2021. So let me break down on this one. The first argument, the main argument is this one. Is the proclamation, the immigration suspension, executive order of the president, which was issued, the original one on April 22nd, and the second one on June 24th, whatever that day, both of those executive orders or proclamation, did they mean that? Did they instruct the embassies not to give the visas to people or restriction for people to come to America? It meant people not to come to America, but it didn't say embassies don't give the visa. The proclamation is intending to block people to arrive in America. So let me make it this way. So for those who do not know, if you get the green card visa today, you are getting today, you are not traveling today, you can travel any day from the day you receive the visa until 6 months. The visa will expire after 6 months. If you extend after 6 months, that is a different story. That means the green card is over. I know some embassies, like in Ghana, they have announced that those who were failed to travel, but they had the visa already, green card visa, they will be reissued another visa. But that is a special case. The point is, if you are given the visa, you have 6 months to travel. So the proclamation, the executive order didn't stop, was not intending to say we are not issuing the visa. No, we were stopping people to come to America. We are putting the restriction people to enter in our country for 60 days, then until December. So for that case, the embassies should continue issuing the visa. And then it's up to you whether to travel or not to travel. So for you to travel or not to travel, it will depend on the restrictions. So assume you got your visa, let's say in April. Assume you got your visa in April. And there was this suspension. And you cannot travel. If there is that suspension, you cannot travel. That means that is a different story. But if you are going to be even denied the chance of going to the US embassy to go for the visa, that is a different story. So this is the argument that give me my visa, and then it's my responsibility. If I don't go to America, by the end of this travel ban, the visa will expire by itself. But don't stop me even to go to the visa by suspension. Suspension doesn't suspend me, doesn't say don't issue the visa. No, suspension says you cannot come to the country, not you cannot be given the visa. They could say, if they want that to be clear, they say we are stopping all the visas. But suspension didn't say that. So for that case, Isla has a very strong case. If that is the case, remember the end of the Dv winners of 2020, we are supposed to end their interviews in end of September. If that's the case, they can be, if the case will be decided on August 27th. So if they're going to win, there are two things can happen. Number one is the month of September, all embassies have to issue all the visas, remaining visas, to bring people to be interviewed by September. And if you are going to be interviewed by September, you are given the visa in September, you cannot travel to America right away because there is this immigration suspension until December. So you have 6 months. So it will be September, October, November, December. That's your 4 months. Then January you can travel because suspension will be able to end. And I made the video about the trend of the job when suspension will end. So you can travel by January, which is a fixed month. Or you can travel on February. the travel the suspension will be lifted already. So if you can travel January or February, but you cannot travel March because March will be end of already 6 months has already over, you cannot be able to do that. So that is something you need to understand. What is the implication of that? So if they win, people will be able to be given the visa. So this, as I said, whether the suspension of the US president was banning the entry or meant to ban not to give the visa at all. The embassies were not instructed by the by the proclamation not to give the visa. Give me the visa, and then we say, oh, by the way, you cannot be able to come. For instance, if you are a student, international student, once you are given the visa, you cannot come here, let's say 2 months later after the school has been open. There is a timeline, I don't remember if I'm not mistaken, maximum is 30 days. You cannot come 3 months later, the school has opened, and oh, I'm going back to my school, I've been admitted in the fall. No, there is a timeline when you can be able to come. But for the green card, this one, you have, especially for the green card by this one, the lottery, you have 6 months to come to America. So this one, in my judgment, what I see, I wrote even here that on the first argument, the embassy can issue you the visa. They are supposed to issue the visa. But you will not be allowed to enter in the United States with an immigrant visa before December 31st. Why? Because it means you can be able to be called for the interview, be given the visa, but because the proclamation, the ban is restricting to come right now, you have 6 months. So if you get in September, 6 months, you can see up to February. So the restriction will be lifted by December. So you have 2 more months to travel to America. If this works, it means those who get the visa interview and being issued the visa between now and the end of September 30th, they can come after December 31st because you can issue, those people who issue the green card visas, it expires after 6 months, which will be around January and February. They can still be able to come here. This will work, and this will be very, very helpful for people to be able to succeed. But another argument from the lawyers, which now is, so if they win the first argument, that if the first argument is the proclamation was to stop the people, but the proclamation didn't instruct the embassies not to give the visa. The proclamation didn't say that way. If you win the first argument, that means the embassies. So, but there are two things. Some of the embassies, they closed the embassies because of the coronavirus. Meaning, once they open back, they're supposed to give people visa interviews. But if you stop to give the visa interviews because of irregularities of this kind of nature, then you must extend the deadline. Instead of September 30th, it has to keep going. That is the purpose of it. So this is what it says. So the other argument was extending the period of the DV Lottery 2020 winners instead of ending of September, which is by law, that is the end. They have to, because the government, the embassies stopped issuing the visa. The embassies were not supposed to stop issuing the visa according to first argument. If you win the first argument, that means, so why did you stop? Because it's your mistake, now you stopped. Now you have to bring, if you stopped for 3 months, that means you have to add those 3 months into after September, so that you can be able to interview all people by that time, because you cannot interview people who are supposed to interview from April to September within 1 month. It will be very, very difficult. So you have to add those, at least 3-4 months on top of that. And if that happens, it means you are not, the argument that, oh, if we do this one, we'll be doing carrying over for the Dv2021 benefits. So this will not be carrying over. You are not carrying over. You are extending the deadline, but these people will be still categorized as the DV Lottery 2020 winners. So the argument of saying we cannot extend because this one, they will be issued the visa, even if the fiscal year is different, but they are given the visa on the basis of the previous fiscal year. So you cannot say, okay, we are extending. When you are going to give them the visa, those visas on your database, you are going to classify them that in the fiscal year 2020, we gave these kind of visas up to this number. And for the fiscal year 2021, we are going to issue the visa, this amount of the visa. So you can give these visas, but when you are going to put them on the books, you are going to say these are the winners of 2020. They are not the winners of 2021. So that is the other argument. So you are not going to, they are not asking carrying over, because you cannot carry over by law. But because you stopped by irregularity, that you stopped to interview people for 3 months, we want our 3 months back to be added on top of after September. So if they win the first argument, which is the key, the second one is going to happen. And if it happens, what does that mean? So for the DV Lottery winners of 2020, they will continue to be interviewed beyond September, possibly for 2 more months, at least until maybe end of October or November at least, or until December, I don't know. But also the DV Lottery winners of 2021, if you win the first argument, it will be, it will mean the same, that suspension ends in December, but suspension doesn't stop people to be interviewed. So people can also be interviewed in October as normal. So the DV Lottery winners of 2021 will be interviewed from October 1st, 2020 for DV 2021. So this lawsuit also applies for the DV Lottery winners of 2021. So if they win, the winners of 2021 will be started interviewed in October as normal, and the schedule continues normal. So this is a very interesting kind of the case. So let's wait and see what will happen in August 27th, and I'll give updates on that particular day. How will that happen? But what I believe and what I know so far for this argument, the key argument is the key argument is very, very clear, that the banning of the entry into the United States didn't mean to stop the issuing of the visa. Give me my visa, and the issue of restriction, that is a separate case. That is me and the border. When I'm arriving into the US, they say, no, you are not allowed to come here. They'll take me back. But it's not you. That is the point of the argument. And I see the valid points on that one, but I'm not the judge. So let's wait and see what does that mean for the status. But so far, I'm very much convinced that the Isla is going to win on this one, and we'll be able to see the DV Lottery winners, which is very, very good, because I know how much people are stressed, very, very stressed about this. If you have won, you have already prepared everything, and now everything is shut down. You cannot travel. You are not going to be getting the visa. You can go crazy. If it's me, I can go crazy. So I understand how frustrated you are, but this will be a very good point. And whether you paid a lawyer, you didn't pay the lawyer, if the decision is this way, it affects everybody who is the winner. So you'll be given the visa, regardless of whether your name was in the lawsuit or you were not in the lawsuit. So thank you so much, everyone. Remember to subscribe to the EBM Scholars channel. And this is EBM from Missouri, United States of America. Goodbye.